Yi Futian's spear attack shocked the gods' ruins continent. News soon spread to the seven realms, and countless people were stunned. Yi Futian's spear attack shocked the gods' ruins continent. News soon spread to the seven realms, and countless people were stunned. Had Yi Futian become so powerful already without them realizing? While everyone focused on Ji Wudao, Yi Futian had quietly risen and killed 7 great emperors with one blow. How talented was he? Nowadays, the few great emperors of the divine prefecture's ancient god clans were probably shivering fearfully. Futian the Great, Yuanshi the Great, and those who had become emperor afterward, Wuliang the Great and Heavenly Emperor Jiang. In the rebuilt Futian clan, the 4 ancient emperors were gathered together. They had already heard the news from the original realm. Yi Futian had killed 7 great emperors with just one spear attack. They did not know who the 7 great emperors were. They had come from outside the heavens, but according to rumors, they had been extremely strong. They were the gods of judgment with overpowering brilliance, but they had been killed by Yi Futian before they could display it fully. There are many voices in the outer realms now, saying that our 4 ancient god clans will follow in the steps of the Tianyan city and Vajra realm, Futian the Great said. What do you all think we should do now? As great emperors, they actually felt very repressed. After the heavenly path had collapsed, they had survived in the world as a different form and waited countless years to finally return. They thought that after returning, they would have utmost glory in the present world and be high and mighty, looking down at the world that lacked great emperors. But what they did not expect was that they could only be proud once. That day they teamed up to destroy the Yi Imperial Palace. They had been extremely domineering, killing their way there. They had no glorious moments after that. Up until now, they were even fearful every day, wondering how they could save themselves. This was so tragic. They were great emperors. They had not felt so repressed, even in ancient times. In the 7 realms right now, everyone wants to destroy the heaven realm and divine prefecture, Yuanshi the Great replied. Yi Futian was hiding away in the original realm and was viewed as non-threatening. If we want to kill him now, we must rely on the divine prefecture's strength. Dong Huang never wanted to kill Yi Futian and kept this threat alive. Now, he has finally risen to the top, becoming someone who can kill emperors. Dong Huang should act now. Futian the Great's expression was cold. If Dong Huang the Great acted, they should deal with Yi Futian. The outer realms say that the various worlds might attack the divine prefecture. It should be soon, and Yi Futian might get involved. I don't know what kind of situation it would be. If he does get involved, Dong Huang should kill him. Nowadays, it seemed that they could only put their hopes on Dong Huang the Great. If the divine prefecture were destroyed, they would still be in danger. If Yi Futian were part of the victorious side, he would not show them mercy. Order people to spread the news that Yi Futian had broken the path to cultivate, Wuliang the Great spoke up. In ancient times, he would be the kind to fight against the heavenly path. He killed 7 emperors as a great emperor to be and is growing extremely fast. If he enters the great emperor plane, he would be completely unparalleled. He will transform into the heavenly path, rule over the gods, and preside over the world law. The other 3 great emperors listened to his words and then nodded, understanding the others' intentions. Why did the human realm, devil world, and other forces want to destroy the heaven realm? It was because the heaven realm had a heavenly path. Ji Wudao had become a heavenly emperor and showed signs of wanting to unify the 7 realms. He was very ambitious and was a threat to the other great emperors. As for his so-called demonic techniques, it was also a reason, but it was not the most important one. The critical point was that he posed a tangible threat to the other worlds. Spreading exaggerated information about Yi Futian also had this effect. The 4 great emperors could not defeat Yi Futian by themselves, so they could only get creative and use lowly and calculative tactics. It seemed a bit pitiful, and they also understood this, but they had no other choice or path to take. Otherwise, they could only wait for death. After Yi Futian killed the 7 great emperors, he returned to cultivate in the Yi Imperial Palace. His attack had helped intimidate the other great emperors who had come from outside the heavens. Many of the great emperors who had previously arrived had blood on their hands. They did not care about the cultivators of the gods' ruins continent at all. They carelessly stole their memories, finding the information that they wanted directly in the people's brains. Great emperor figures were too terrifyingly destructive. Their one mindless action could cause many people to die. Not long after Yi Futian killed the 7 great emperors, another uninvited guest came to the Yi imperial palace. It was cultivators from the human realm. In fact, Di Hao had led them here personally. Known as the heir of the human realm, Di Hao had many conflicts with Yi Futian before. They had even fought directly before. The Yi imperial palace greeted Di Hao. The world's current situation was a bit strange. Di Hao had come representing the human realm, and Yi Futian wanted to see what the purpose was. Yi Futian sat on the majestic throne and looked down in the sky to Di Hao. Di Hao had become very strong too, being in the great emperor to be plain for many years, but he was nothing before Yi Futian. Palace Lord Yi. Di Hao's personality seemed to have changed. He did not have the arrogance from before at all. He knew that Yi Futian was no longer on the same level as him. At least, there was a big gap between them right now. Yi Futian nodded slightly and said, "What advice is the human realm hoping to impart in this visit? We have had some conflicts with Palace Lord Yi in the past, and I am taking this chance to apologize. I hope you can forgive me," Di Hao said, bowing down to apologize to Yi Futian. Yi Futian's expression faltered. He was quite surprised. "It's all in the past," he said. "Let us talk about the matter at hand." He was not in the mood for beating around the bush and small talk. "I am sure Palace Lord Yi has seen the changes of the world. Ji Wudao is threatening the safety of the 7 realms, and Donghuang the Great is plotting in the back. We don't know what he has plotted, but the human ancestor is calling top figures from all the forces to gather at the human realm and discuss this grand matter together. Thus, I came to invite Palace Lord Yi as well." Yi Futian cocked an eyebrow. Something similar had happened before, and they had invited him to fight against the heaven realm, but he did not participate. Now, the human ancestor ordered someone to invite him again. "I have heard of it before," Yi Futian said. "The Yi Imperial Palace is only a force of the original realm and unable to reach the heights of the emperor-level forces of the 7 realms. We are not qualified to participate yet." He looked at Di Hao a bit tentatively. Di Hao looked at Yi Futian. He closed his eyes, and then an extremely strong aura burst from his body. Then Di Hao's entire being seemed to change. An illusory figure appeared in the air above him. It was an elder's figure. He appeared extremely ancient and wise, benevolent and kind. There was even auspicious light surrounding him like a natural phenomenon. Human ancestor. Yi Futian's pupils constricted. He stood up and said, "Greetings to the human ancestor." "Palace Lord Yi, you are too polite," came a wispy voice from the elder's silhouette. "I heard that Palace Lord Yi killed 7 emperors with 1 spear, shocking the world. How can you be so humble? In the current world, Palace Lord Yi is destined to stand at the very top. How can you not be qualified? I know that Di Hao had a conflict with you. Thus, I came to invite you personally. I wanted to meet the most outstanding junior of the current world." The human ancestor was a being from ancient times. He had lived countless years and was the most ancient great emperor. He was not like those ancient emperors who had fallen and then returned. He had always existed in the world. The human ancestor was a being from ancient times. He had lived countless years and was the most ancient great emperor. He was not like those ancient emperors who had fallen and then returned. He had always existed in the world. One could say that the human ancestor was the most senior being in the world. He was also the most respected of the 6 emperors. With the human ancestor status, he was really showing respect to Yi Futian by coming personally. Yi Futian was unable to reject him, so he said, "Since the human ancestor has invited me, how can I not agree?" Hearing that Yi Futian agreed, the human ancestor smiled and nodded, saying, "In that case, I will wait for Palace Lord Yi to come to the human realm." With that, the auspicious light flashed, and the human ancestor's figure vanished. Di Hao's eyes opened. Looking at Yi Futian, he said, "Since Palace Lord Yi has agreed, I will take my leave. Be my guest." Yi Futian did not try to stop him. He nodded, and then Di Hao led his men away. After the cultivators of the human realm left, Yi Futian remained on his throne. The people beside him did not leave either. At this time, Yi Futian's brows furrowed slightly and he asked, "What do you all think?" The human ancestor had invited him personally to travel to the human realm and discuss the grand matter. The so-called grand matter was naturally how to deal with the heaven realm and divine prefecture. The human realm has always represented justice in the world. They are also attacking the heaven realm and divine prefecture under the name of justice, but the 6 realms all act for their own benefit. "I don't believe in the so-called human justice," the Supreme Sword Lord said. The human ancestor had a good relationship with Donghuang the Great before. Now, he suddenly wants to destroy the divine prefecture. "I'm afraid there are other secrets. It's not as simple as it seems." The last time Di Hao proposed to Donghuang Dun was the human ancestor testing Donghuang the Great's attitude. Their relationship started worsening after that. "Correct," Feng Gai said. "The human ancestor is the most ancient being in the world now and is unpredictable. No one can see through him. The temperament he shows is peerless too. There are 2 possibilities for his temperament. 1, he is a true sage who is detached from the world. But judging from his past actions, he might not have reached that state yet. If that is not the case, then it is a guise, which is even more frightening." He was analyzing the revered human ancestor. In the human realm, the human ancestor's status is extremely revered. Everyone worships him. His title is the human ancestor. No ordinary person can enjoy this title. Could it be possible that he wants to attack the heaven realm and divine prefecture for the good of the cultivation world? Lord Taishin said doubtfully. However, he was only expressing his own views. He did have some suspicions, but he felt that they could not see clearly and did not want to directly accuse the human ancestor of being disingenuous. Perhaps they saw things with a bias because of their conflicts with the human realm? At most, he is only thinking for the human realm, Gu Donglu said in disagreement. "No matter what the situation with the human ancestor is, we must make the trip." Yi Futian nodded. If the human ancestor was a true sage, with unparalleled benevolence, they had to visit out of respect for the senior. There was nothing wrong with that. If it was the other possibility, then the human ancestor was very calculative. Since he had already come personally with an invitation, Yi Futian would be presumptuous not to go. It would most likely be difficult to counter the human ancestor if he attacked directly. "We will naturally know all of this in the future," Yi Futian said. He must visit the human realm. Year 10,184 of the Divine Prefecture calendar, the human realm invited all the emperor forces to discuss how to deal with the heaven realm and divine prefecture. Once news of this spread, countless cultivators traveled to the human realm to witness this grandiosity. Once, the human realm was enemies with the devil world, empty divine realm, and dark world. Unexpectedly, they would sit down together in an alliance. Changes were unpredictable, and anything could happen in the world. If war erupted this time, what kind of consequences would occur? Would the divine prefecture be destroyed? The divine prefecture should still exist, but it was hard to say whether the Donghuang Imperial Palace would survive. Human realm, human divine palace. It was covered in wispy and spiritual-like clouds. There were many spiritual mountains here with many pavilions on them, wrapped in auspicious clouds. There were even phoenixes and divine birds flying in the mist. At this moment, many cultivators were traveling through the sky. They rode the divine birds and looked incredibly magical and handsome. There was a grand feast set up on one of the main mountains. Guests came from all directions and landed in the spiritual mountains. They stood there and looked into the distance, anticipation filling their eyes. Today, there will be a grand feast of the largest scale in 500 years. 4 of the 6 current emperors might come, and many of the influential figures who had become great emperors recently would go too. At the moment, there were cultivators in different parts of the mountain. Their auras were all immeasurably deep. The cultivators in the Renhuang Plain could only stand at the bottom. They weren't even qualified to take a seat. After the world's drastic changes, the Renhuang Plain was nothing anymore. Too many strong figures had been created in recent years, whether they had gone through tribulation or were great emperors to be. It was currently the age of the great emperors. The age of gods had already begun. How stood beside the divine throne at the peak of the spiritual mountain. There were countless great emperors on either side of him. They were all waiting. Even the weakest of those figures were in the great emperor to be plain. Right then, amidst the cultivators below the spiritual mountain, a group of people passed powerfully through the clouds and came straight towards this side. It was Futian's group. They were the first to arrive. Many goddesses went forward to welcome them. They bowed in greeting and said, "Palace Lord Yi, welcome." With that, they led the way, bringing Futian and the others to the region of spiritual mountains and led them to sit in one section. Palace Lord Yi. Hao nodded slightly at Futian and the others. Futian also nodded in response but did not say anything else. They sat down quietly and started waiting there. They were not the stars of the show this time. The 6 emperors were coming, so he was only a junior. Terrifying devilish might descended from the dome of the sky. Then beams of devilish light appeared. A group of strong figures abruptly appeared atop the spiritual peak. The strong figures of the Devil Realm's Devil Imperial Palace had arrived. The leader had aggressive might. It was the Devil Emperor who had come personally. "Greetings, Devil Emperor." Hao and the others bowed in greeting. "Greetings, Devil Emperor." Countless cultivators atop and below the spiritual mountain greeted at the same time, bowing down. The 6 current emperors were the topmost existence in the world. Everyone held great respect and reverence for the 6 emperors. The Devil Emperor did not speak. He strode forward directly, leading the strong figures of the Devil Realm toward somewhere. His eyes glanced at Futian. "Senior Devil Emperor." Futian rose and bowed from a distance. The Devil Emperor nodded slightly, and then his gaze moved away. Not long after the Devil Emperor arrived, 2 strong auras descended at the same time. Dark divine light fell from the top of the sky, transforming it into a passageway. A group of strong cultivators walked out from it. Not long after the Devil Emperor arrived, 2 strong auras descended at the same time. Dark divine light fell from the top of the sky, transforming it into a passageway. A group of strong cultivators walked out from it. And on the other end, there was a golden space passageway. It was like a spatial door had opened. Similarly, a group of strong cultivators walked out from it. The Dark Court and Empty Mountain cultivators had arrived. "Greetings, Sovereign and Evil Emperor." The strong cultivators rose and bowed again, greeting the 2 standing at the peak, the Dark Sovereign, the ruler of the Dark Court, and the Evil Emperor, ruler of the Empty Divine Realm. Even for Futian, this was his first time seeing their true forms. He had lived in the Dark Court previously, but he had not seen the Dark Sovereign's true form either. At this time, the Dark Sovereign was wrapped in black fog, giving people a doubtful feeling. He also had a silver mask on his face. His entire being was hidden in the nothingness. The Evil Emperor was slender and had defined facial features. He looked to be in his 40s. Just by standing there casually, he gave off an extraordinary feeling. There seemed to be an arrogant air about him. He did not even look at the people. He just scanned the Devil Emperor's side, found his spot, and took a seat. They've all arrived. This feast was mainly for the Devil Emperor, Dark Sovereign, and Evil Emperor. The 3 supreme figures had all come personally. This was unprecedented in the past 500 years. Only the human ancestor made these 3 great emperors come in their true forms. Auspicious light shimmered in the air above the divine throne on the spiritual mountain. The brilliant light shone, enveloping all of the ancient peaks. A figure appeared in the human divine palace, and then he came to the divine throne. It was the human ancestor's true form. "I am very touched that my old friends were willing to come for me," the human ancestor said, smiling at the figures. "The last time we gathered like this must be 500 years ago." At that time, when the world was in chaos, they had gathered before it was resolved. Ever since then, the 7 realms had been at peace for countless years, and war had not appeared again. At present, 4 of the 6 emperors of the world appeared here. There was also Futian of the original realm. The situation of the 7 realms has changed. Since the human ancestor invited us, we also would like to hear your thoughts, the evil emperor said. His voice was distant, and he sounded very conceited. You all know of the changes of the 7 realms. There is no need to speak further about it. The heavenly path wants to use Ji Wudao to return and rule over the world again. Dong Huang's stance is unclear, but he may partner with the heaven realm. Ji Wudao has shown his feelings for Dong Huang Duan countless times, wanting to make her the empress. If Ji Wudao succeeds, the 7 realms will not exist anymore. The human ancestor's voice was ethereal as he slowly continued. This time, the other side has plotted for many years while keeping us in the dark. Thus, I invited you all here. I hope to destroy the Dong Huang Imperial Palace first and take care of Ji Wudao after. What do you all think? If they become allies, won't Dong Huang go to the heaven realm? If the heavenly path helps Dong Huang, I'm afraid it won't be straightforward, the Devil Emperor stated, seeming to want to test the human ancestor with his words. Dong Huang has ruled the divine prefecture for 500 years. I am sure you all are clear on how significant the divine prefecture is to him. If he is willing to abandon the divine prefecture and be with Ji Wudao in the heaven realm, then he will be giving up the foundations of the divine prefecture, the human ancestor replied. Little friend Yi is the descendant of Emperor Yi Qing and extremely talented. He also has old rivalries with Dong Huang the Great. It's quite suitable for him to inherit Emperor Yi Qing's foundations. What do you all think about handing the divine prefecture to little friend Yi? Yi Futian's expression was surprised. He did not think that the human ancestor would show such friendliness and give him the divine prefecture to rule. I agree, the Devil Emperor was the first to nod and agree. He said, Emperor Yi Qing was one of the creators of the divine prefecture. It is legitimate for Yi Futian to inherit the divine prefecture. I have no objections to little friend Yi inheriting the divine prefecture. The Dark Sovereign also agreed. The evil emperor did not speak, so everyone looked at him and the human ancestor. The evil emperor doesn't speak, so I will take it as a yes. The group's casual conversation seemed to determine that the divine prefecture would be under Yi Futian's rule. One Yi Futian did not speak, but some ideas grew in his mind. The Buddha of Destiny predicted that Dong Huang the Great's emperor fate would last 500 years. Would this be refuted this time? Would he inherit the position of Dong Huang the Great? If the 4 Realms Alliance attacked the divine prefecture, what would the Buddhist stance be? Would they be bystanders, or would they get involved to aid Dong Huang? After we conquer the divine prefecture, the next target would be the heaven realm. The day we conquer it would be the day we decode the mystery of the heavenly path and destroy it to prevent any remaining threats. As for the heavenly realm, the human realm will not touch it. Devil Emperor, Dark Sovereign, if you wish to invade it, you are free to do so, the human ancestor said as if he was not interested in the heaven realm territory. The Devil Emperor had always wanted to break out of the Devil realm so that he would let them. I want the original realm, the Dark Sovereign said. Yi Futian glanced at him. The Dark Sovereign's wish was to have darkness envelope the entire world. The original realm was the origin of the world. The Dark Sovereign must have ulterior motives if he wanted to control the original realm. Sovereign, you're clear about the changes in the original realm nowadays. I'm afraid it won't be so easy to control the original realm, the human ancestor said. It would be fine as long as you all do not interfere, the Dark Sovereign continued. I will send people to the original realm. If there is trouble, we will resolve it ourselves. What about the empty divine realm? Asked the evil emperor spoke up at this time. These people were splitting up the territory but seemed to have forgotten him. They were not interested in the divine prefecture, but the great emperors seemed very interested in the original realm. Yi Futian thought that he was the ruler of the original realm and had risen in the original realm. The others all agreed to put him into the divine prefecture. They probably wanted him to separate from the original realm. However, if they conquered the divine prefecture and destroyed the heaven realm, the relationships between these great emperor forces probably would not be so amicable anymore. Other conflicts would arise. The human realm had always been unfriendly with the devil realm and the other 2 worlds. You all are having fun, a voice came from the distance. The human ancestor and others furrowed their brows slightly and looked into the distance. The voice traveled from outside the human divine palace's spiritual mountain. They did not pay attention, but just now, after the voice traveled over, an extremely aggressive aura also spread over. Many figures shot into the sky from the spiritual mountain. The strong figures beside the human ancestor also stepped forward. At the same time, shocking auras emanated from various directions. However, the human ancestor raised his arm, stopping everyone. Then an intense beam of light shot over from a distance. It was extremely blinding. The next moment, an extraordinary figure appeared in the heavens before the spiritual mountain. Everyone's eyes were on him, staring icily. Murderous intent swept through. The strongest forces of the world were gathered here today. 4 of the 6 emperors were here, and yet someone still dared to stand in the heavens and look down at them. It was such presumptuousness. Other than Ji Wudao, there was no other person like this in the current world. However, it was not his true form. Presumptuous. The strong cultivators looked at Ji Wudao, who had appeared in the sky. Presumptuous. The strong cultivators looked at Ji Wudao, who had appeared in the sky. Even if he was a heavenly emperor of the current world, Ji Wudao was still a junior. 4 of the current 6 emperors were at the human divine palace spiritual mountain right now, yet Ji Wudao was so presumptuous. He descended directly and looked down from the heavens as if he was the ruler of the masses. Get down here. A figure walked out. It was a great emperor. He raised his hand and grabbed toward the sky. Instantly, booms filled the air, and horrifying divine power burst forth. Supreme might shrouded the sky. The group saw a huge hand grab towards Ji Wudao in the sky. However, Ji Wudao's entire body dazzled, and divine light wrapped around him. Clang! There was the sound of a loud bell. An ancient bell appeared in his divine form. It broke through the air and hit the handprint, actually penetrating it. It shattered the huge handprint and blasted straight toward the great emperor who had attacked. The great emperor raised his hand to block it. Instantly, countless huge handprints appeared in the air and blasted toward the ancient bell. Kaboom! The huge divine bell seemed to overlook the defensive forces and pass straight through them, instantly going toward the great emperor. Paired with a huge boom, the strong great emperor was forced back, and he let out a muffled grunt. The bell's ringing echoed in their ears, filling the air. Universe-breaking bell. The human ancestor looked at it. This was the ability of the ancient heavenly emperor, and Ji Wudao had inherited it. He was the heir of the heaven realm and also received the inheritance of the old heaven court, so it was normal that he was skilled in the old heavenly emperor's abilities. It was unexpected that only his incarnation had come, but he could already hurt a great emperor instantly. Ji Wudao was becoming stronger and stronger. Then Ji Wudao's figure floated down. He looked to the human ancestor and said, "The human ancestor is the most ancient great emperor in the current world. Many of the things from back then must be related to the human ancestor, right?" The human ancestor gazed at Ji Wudao and replied, "Ji Wudao, you received the chaotic heavenly swallowing method and cultivated it into a demonic technique. You swallow and kill cultivators in the dark and will suffer from the backlash. As expected of the human ancestor. You are indeed very knowledgeable," Ji Wudao said with a laugh. "However, if we are speaking of backlash, it should be the human ancestor instead. I heard that everyone is gathered here today to discuss how to destroy the divine prefecture and attack the 99 heavens, so I came to take a look. I, Ji Wudao, will remember everyone present. You all must be more careful when traveling from now on." Everyone stared at Ji Wudao. He had come as an incarnate and dared to threaten all the emperors. How arrogant and wild. Everyone here was a top figure in the world. "Ji Wudao, I still have a question. Did Dong Huang ally with you?" The devil emperor asked, looking at Ji Wudao. He seemed to want to know the answer. Before, it had only been a rumor in the human realm. No one saw that Ji Wudao was working with Dong Huang the Great. Since Ji Wudao came personally, he decided to ask out of curiosity if Dong Huang the Great had already become allies with Ji Wudao. Ji Wudao laughed when he heard this question, and some mockery actually showed on his face. Looking at the devil emperor, he said, "That coward Dong Huang qualifies to be my ally?" Coward Dong Huang? The strong cultivators were all shocked by Ji Wudao's crazy words. Dong Huang the Great was the most renowned figure in the millennium. He had peerless talent, ruled the divine prefecture, and his name was known throughout the world. And yet, Ji Wudao called Dong Huang the Great coward Dong Huang today. This was the first time someone had called Dong Huang the Great a coward. Yi Futian furrowed his brows. Why did Ji Wudao say this? Was it because of the sovereign princess? Dong Huang the Great and the sovereign princess were married. Though very few people knew this, Ji Wudao was the heir of the heaven realm, so how could he not know? Also, what connection did Ji Wudao have with the sovereign princess? Ji Wudao had been chosen as the heir of the heaven realm many years ago. Could he have been chosen by the sovereign princess? In this case, had Dong Huang the Great not allied with Ji Wudao? Otherwise, there was no reason for Ji Wudao to humiliate Dong Huang the Great like this. If that is the case, then why are you here? The Dark Sovereign said, looking at Ji Wudao. Did you come here to purposely mislead us? Many people's expressions changed. From the Dark Sovereign's words, it was clear that he would not give up on this mission to attack the divine prefecture. Whether the divine prefecture had allied with the heaven realm was no longer important. If they thought something, then it was the truth. Do you even qualify? Ji Wudao looked at the Dark Sovereign and responded with a cold smirk. I came here to notify you all that since you decided to team up against the heaven realm, then you should be prepared. When I prove my path, there will be true chaos, and the 7 realms will bathe in blood. Everyone present must be prepared. Ji Wudao spoke arrogantly, and then his figure faded gradually. Finally, he vanished as if he had never appeared in the first place. Countless gazes on the divine mountains looked toward the vanished figure in silence. No one spoke. Ji Wudao had come to threaten everyone here. The day he became the heavenly emperor, he would bring chaos to the world. Did Ji Wudao have the ability? He was not an emperor yet, but he could kill a great emperor easily. If he became an emperor, his abilities would probably really be enough to counter the 6 emperors. This kind of person was indeed a huge threat. His goal was not only 1 realm but 7, the entire world. He did not want to rule the world. Instead, he wanted to kill and dye the world with blood. In ancient times, there were the 8 legions under the heavenly path, acting as the spokespeople of the heavenly path in the world. They ruled the world. Among them, the Deva was the leader of the 8 legions. The heavenly emperor, leader of the Deva, was the top person under the heavenly path. He managed the world law for the heavenly path. All laws in the world were under his control. He presided over the masses, viewed the people like ants, and thus, in the age after the heavenly path, I created the human realm to focus on human life. I did not think that after countless years, in current times, the heir of the heavenly emperor would be the same. He sees nothing and wants to dye the world with blood, viewing people's lives as mere weeds. The human ancestor spoke slowly. He no longer had the casual feeling from before and was instead extremely solemn, revealing some shades of coldness. He said, I became known as the human ancestor, so I must do something for the people. It doesn't matter if Dong Huang the Great wants to ally with the heaven realm to overthrow the 7 realms. After we conquer the divine prefecture, we can ask Dong Huang what he thinks, if he is willing to ally with us and attack the 99 heavens to destroy the evil heaven court of the present day. The devil emperor and others were silent. Yi Futian also listened quietly the entire time and never spoke up. It was not time for him to stand up. I invited you all to visit because I hope that you all can have a unified heart. After you return, send armies to the divine prefecture together 7 days later. Do not hurt the mortals and take down the domain chief's manors of the 18 domains. Then we will visit the Dong Huang Imperial Palace. How about it? The human ancestor asked everyone. Sure, the devil emperor replied. No problem. Everyone nodded in agreement. They would send soldiers to the divine prefecture together and prepare to take down the divine prefecture. Seeing everyone nod, the human ancestor looked toward Yi Futian and said, Palace Lord Yi, after the battle, you will lead people to rule over the divine prefecture. The cultivation of the people of the divine prefecture will depend on you from now on. Seeing everyone nod, the human ancestor looked toward Yi Futian and said, "Palace Lord Yi, after the battle, you will lead people to rule over the divine prefecture. The cultivation of the people of the divine prefecture will depend on you from now on." The gears in Yi Futian's brain turned, and many ideas appeared in his mind. Still, he could not figure out why the human ancestor did this, but he nodded and said, "I will follow the human ancestor's teachings." Palace Lord Yi is the top talent of the 7 realms and destined to stand at the very peak. It is the fortune of the divine prefecture cultivators to have Palace Lord Yi govern the divine prefecture, the human ancestor continued. For this mission, it seems at the moment that Palace Lord Ye's side is the weakest. I will send some people to aid you. In addition, to prevent Donghuang the Great from leading people in a counterattack, you must be careful with the Yi Imperial Palace and leave people there to guard it. Yi Futian was slightly alarmed inside. The human ancestor was thinking carefully for him, but was there an ulterior motive? Such as watching his movements. But in the current situation, he was already tied to this war chariot. Even if the human ancestor had that ulterior motive, he could not reject him. Plus, there were no problems with the human ancestor's words. Everything seemed logical and very well could happen. Before he could reply, the human ancestor continued, "The Devil Emperor, Sovereign, and Evil Emperor's forces have developed some great emperors in recent years. Will you all also send some people to aid Palace Lord Yi?" By saying that, he seemed even more to be thinking for Yi Futian. "Yes." The Devil Emperor nodded in agreement and said, "I will send great emperors to the Yi Imperial Palace to coordinate the equilibrium between the forces and attack the divine prefecture together." Yi Futian glanced at the Devil Emperor. Since the Devil Emperor said that, he naturally could not say much else. Nodding, he said, "Thank you, seniors, human ancestor and Devil Emperor. In that case, I will not keep you all here anymore," the human ancestor said. "Please return and begin preparing." The set time was very tight. 7 days later, they would attack the divine prefecture together. If they were regular cultivators, 7 days would not even be enough for them to travel back, but they were all great emperors here, the top beings of the world. 7 days was enough for them. "In that case, we will start on our way back now," the Devil Emperor said and led the strong cultivators away. The other cultivators began to return as well. Yi Futian also stood up to bid farewell. This time, everyone was leaving without having stayed for too long. But this pertained to the order and war of the 7 realms, and they had to meet this time to agree. Thus, the significance of this meeting was not in the duration. Instead, it was that the great emperor's true forms had come here together and created the alliance to attack the divine prefecture. After the strong figures returned, news quickly spread from the human realm and dispersed toward the 7 realms with extremely frightening speed. All the cultivators of the 7 realms felt shaken inside instantly. They knew that the world was going to change. The order of the 7 realms would welcome a historical change. The human realm, devil realm, dark world, and empty divine realm would work together to attack the divine prefecture. They would destroy the divine prefecture first and then attack the 99 heavens of the heaven realm. Was the prediction of the Buddha of destiny about to come true? Would the 500-year-long emperor fate of Donghuang the Great come to an end? They did not expect that the world would change so quickly. The 7 realms welcomed an unprecedented war. Yi Futian's group returned to the Yi Imperial Palace. Then he called the core figures of the Yi Imperial Palace to gather and to discuss matters. Declaring war against the divine prefecture was out of the ordinary. No one could predict what consequences there would be. Yi Futian had no choice but to be careful. "What do you all think?" Yi Futian asked everyone in the Grand Pavilion. The cultivators in the main pavilion were all core figures who had followed him from the Ziwei segmentum. "We cannot reverse the trend," the West Emperor said. "The human ancestor and others are pushing you forward. This is the general trend. Yu Sheng of the Devil Realm has a special relationship with you, and you have some friendship with the Devil Emperor, but he is also part of the trend. There is no choice." Yi Futian nodded. He also felt that the Devil Emperor wanted him to get involved too. The 4 forces, the human ancestor, Devil Emperor, Dark Sovereign, and Evil Emperor, formed the trend. Even now, he still felt insignificant and could only go along with the flow, participating in this battle. Of course, he personally had enough reasons to participate. In addition, the other side had even given him enough benefits. After conquering the divine prefecture, he would rule the divine prefecture. But if this really happened, no one could predict how the world order would change again. Was it the appearance of the heavenly path in the 99 heavens and Ji Wudao that disrupted the equilibrium, causing the human ancestor and the others to want to declare war? I am a bit worried, Gu Donglu said. Third brother, speak. Yi Futian looked at Gu Donglu. The human ancestor has lived for countless years, and he is unpredictable for us. His current attitude can even make you forget your previous conflicts with the human realm, Gu Donglu said. He is known as the human ancestor, and he is incredibly powerful. He is very benevolent and thinks for all beings in the world, but if he acts differently than how he thinks, then what is he plotting? Everyone fell silent at that. Before, they had discussed how the human ancestor was, and they returned to this question now. The human ancestor was too hard to predict. They could react to enemies on the surface, but it was too dangerous if the human ancestor was setting up a ploy for them. I feel that the human ancestor is extremely tricky. He must have another ulterior motive. It's just that we can't see it, Zhuge Mingyue also said. Her gut instincts told her that the human ancestor was definitely not how he acted. Have you realized that ever since the human ancestor appeared in the Yi Imperial Palace, we lost the initiative? Gu Donglu spoke again. We are just acting according to the human ancestor's wishes. It seems like he has not done anything, but we're indeed already wrapped in this flood. Yi Futian nodded. He thought of what the Devil Emperor had said to him years ago. Emperor Yi Qing's death back then may possibly have the human realm's ideas in it. If this were the case, then the human ancestor naturally would not be a benevolent and selfless great emperor. He would have his own selfish wishes. The human ancestor had lived for countless years. What were his pursuits? The point is that no matter what motive the human ancestor has, we are already coerced by the trend, the Supreme Swordlord said. We must join the war. There is no way out. Everyone fell silent. This was the main issue, just like when the human ancestor had come with the invitation. It might not be a bad thing, the West Emperor spoke up. Perhaps the human ancestor only wants to break the equilibrium between the 7 realms and thus wants to support us in managing the divine prefecture. At least right now, the human ancestor has not expressed any ill intentions yet. As for his motive, it's unclear at the moment. Yi Futian listened to everyone's words, and his thoughts became clearer. He nodded slightly and said, "Then we will fight in the battle. What do you all think?" The strong cultivators all fell silent when they heard Yi Futian's words. This war was a war that affected the strongest figures in the 7 realms. It was a true peak battle. No one could make a complete prediction beforehand. The strong cultivators all fell silent when they heard Yi Futian's words. This war was a war that affected the strongest figures in the 7 realms. It was a true peak battle. No one could make a complete prediction beforehand. No one was clear about the 6 emperors' abilities or who was weaker and who was stronger. From the surface, if the human ancestors' 4 great emperor forces ally to attack the Donghuang Imperial Palace, then it's a crushing defeat. No matter how strong Donghuang the Great is, he can't be stronger than 4 emperors, the West Emperor said. Judging from Ji Wudao's words, he looks at Donghuang the Great with scorn. Perhaps he won't participate in the battle due to the wife of Donghuang the Great. Then the only variable would be the Buddhists, whether the Western Heaven Buddhists would get involved or not. Many years ago, the 2 sides might have reached an equilibrium and thus had 500 years of peace. The Devil Emperor, Dark Sovereign, and Evil Emperor were on one side. The other side was the human ancestor, the Buddha, and Donghuang the Great. But now, the equilibrium has been broken. The human ancestor wanted to attack Donghuang the Great. Yi Futian thought back to when he had cultivated in the Buddhist sect. There were some bad people in the Buddhist sect, but overall, they were very friendly to Yi Futian. The Buddha must have taught Donghuang the Great back then too, so they had a special relationship. Plus, the Buddha of Destiny had also appeared to stop the war between the 7 realms. It was evident that the Buddhists did not wish for war. Many of the great Buddhas were compassionate, so it was not clear if the Buddhists would directly participate in the battle. However, many great Buddhas did not wish for this battle to decimate the beings of the cultivation world. Whether the Buddhists participate or not, the divine prefecture's strength has still weakened, unless Donghuang the Great decides to go all out and abandon the divine prefecture, Gu Donglu said. In that case, it would also be a catastrophe for the human realm's four forces unless the four emperors can kill Donghuang the Great directly. In terms of overall strength, we are the weakest party. We can't avoid participating in the battle, but we shouldn't attract hatred. If Donghuang the Great targets the Yi Imperial Palace and attacks, it'll be a catastrophe. Yi Futian nodded. He had to consider this point. If the four great emperor forces and the Yi Imperial Palace attacked the divine prefecture simultaneously, Donghuang the Great could indeed choose to go down with the ship. Follow the four emperors, Zhuge Mingyue said. Do whatever they do. I wonder if there'll be a chance to see Master. Gu Donglu gazed into the distance. It had been years since Mr. Du of the cottage was taken away by Donghuang Diun. They had no way of knowing if he was still alive and well. They might find the answer if they could step foot in the Donghuang Imperial Palace during this battle. Palace Lord, someone outside the pavilion called at this moment. Palace Lord, cultivators from the human realm have come. They've come so fast. Yi Futian lifted his head and looked outside. They had just returned, and the human realm's strong figures had already come. It seemed that they had been ordered immediately to come. Welcome, Yi Futian said. Then he rose and walked down from the divine throne, saying, Let's go welcome them. Everyone nodded and headed out. They walked out from the grand pavilion and looked down the steps. They saw a group of people coming over from a distance. They were very fast. They came up along the sky stairwell and stopped below after getting closer. We were ordered here by the human ancestor to aid Palace Lord Yi, they said to Yi Futian. You all have worked hard. Yi Futian's eyes swept over the people below. There were 6 people in total, and all of them were great emperors. He had not even seen many of them before and was unfamiliar with them. This scene shocked Yi Futian too. The richness of the human realm intimidated him a little. Had he seen the most vital parts of each realm before? These past years, ancient emperors came back gradually, but the human realm could easily send 6 great emperors here. This was extremely generous. You all came from afar. I will have people help you rest and notify you when we embark, Yi Futian continued saying. The 6 all nodded, and one person said, We will listen to Palace Lord Ye's arrangements. Fang Gai walked out and led the 6 great emperors to leave this place. Yi Futian watched them leave and had a thoughtful expression. These great emperors were so cooperative with him. What exactly did the human ancestor want? After a while, the devil world also sent 2 great emperors here. Now, 8 great emperors had come to the Yi Imperial Palace. The dark world and empty divine world did not send anyone. Perhaps they thought it was enough for the human realm and devil world to send people. Next, he had to arrange the people who would fight in the battle. Yi Futian naturally had to bring the core combat force with him. In addition, there were his friends and family. Should he keep them with him or leave them in the Yi Imperial Palace? 6 great emperors had come from the human realm, and 2 had come from the devil world. Their opinion was for the human realm to leave 2 great emperors, and devil world leave one to help Yi Futian guard the Yi Imperial Palace. The other great emperors would follow him to fight the divine prefecture. This way, they could also catch up to the steps of the human realm and devil world. However, Yi Futian had no way of knowing if they wanted to monitor him. If they had these thoughts, then if something happened to him on the battlefield, the people here would probably be subject to the outsiders, and he would not be able to act freely on the battlefield. While the various realms were preparing to attack the divine prefecture, the cultivators of the divine prefecture also received this news. The entire divine prefecture was shaken, and everyone was anxious. 4 great emperor forces would unite. Would the divine prefecture change its ruler this time? They heard that the human ancestor appointed Yi Futian to govern the divine prefecture and inherit the mantle of Emperor Yi Qing. Would all of this happen? It seemed quite peaceful in the Donghuang Imperial Palace. Everything was normal. It seemed like nothing was out of the ordinary. At this time, Dong Huang the Great sat cross-legged in his cultivation zone. There was a chessboard before him. He was playing chess by himself, analyzing the game. Right then, a cultivator appeared before him. He was soundless as if arising out of nowhere. Is there no other choice? That person looked at Dong Huang the Great and asked. Dong Huang the Great was silent. He continued to play chess and then shook his head, saying, "No. The result is set. This is the only step to take." "Okay, I will arrange it." The comber nodded slightly. Dong Huang the Great lifted his head and looked at the person. "Be careful," he said. "Understood," the other replied. Then he turned and left, quickly disappearing without a trace. Dong Huang the Great lowered his head and continued to play chess. After a long while, the board seemed to turn into a dead end. He could not put down the piece in his hand, and then he said in a low voice, "This is the only step that can be taken." With that, he waved his hand, and the chessboard disappeared. He stood up and turned around, walking in one direction. His backside had a feeling of determination. The North Cliff region had been under the Devil World's rule since the Devil World invaded it back then. This had caused significant criticism in the Divine Prefecture, and many people even doubted Dong Huang the Great. The North Cliff region had been under the Devil World's rule since the Devil World invaded it back then. This had caused significant criticism in the Divine Prefecture, and many people even doubted Dong Huang the Great. At this time, strong figures of the Devil World continuously appeared at the borders between the North Cliff region and Devil World, arriving at the North Cliff region. The various Devil World armies and independent cultivators hurried toward the Divine Prefecture, prepared to welcome a mighty battle. The Great Emperor's decisions would determine the victory or defeat of this battle. However, back then, the 6 emperors had checked and balanced each other, and battles erupted among the cultivators below the Great Emperor Plain and swept in all directions. It was different now. The times were different. As the ancient emperors returned gradually and more great emperors and empress to bes were created, the modern cultivators were already too strong to be compared to the past. Even so, how could the cultivators of the Devil World miss this chance? The emperor-level forces determined the battles in the upper level, while they would invade the entire Divine Prefecture. They would scatter the seeds of the Devil World in the land of the Divine Prefecture instead of just the barren soil. In addition, strong cultivators of the human realm, empty divine realm, and dark world all gradually came to the bordering regions of the Divine Prefecture. They also had mighty armies. This was a war of aggression. They all believed that after this battle, the Divine Prefecture would no longer be the Divine Prefecture. It would belong to all of them. Even though the human ancestor had already agreed to hand the Divine Prefecture over to Futian, that would come later. Before that, they would devour up the entire Divine Prefecture. Futian also led a large army and left the Yi Imperial Palace. After considering things, he did not bring everyone with him. This great battle was to invade the Divine Prefecture, but it was not as simple as imagined. What kind of existence was Dong Huang the Great? If he targeted Futian, it would also be extremely dangerous. Thus, he believed that maybe staying in the Yi Imperial Palace would actually be safer. A few great emperors were guarding the Yi Imperial Palace. Even if Dong Huang the Great ordered great emperors to attack them, they should handle it. As for whether the human ancestor intended to monitor him, he did not care. Since he was already joining the war, he would naturally go full out when it pertained to his life or death. This battle had been caused by the trend. He had no choice. At this time, they were below a passageway in the God's Ruins continent. It was a passageway that led to the Divine Prefecture. Once they stepped over it, they would enter the land of the Divine Prefecture. Futian took out a mirror. A few figures instantly appeared in the reflection, the strong figures who stood at the peak. The human ancestor, Devil Emperor, Evil Emperor, and Dark Sovereign. Including him, there were 5 people in total. This mirror was a supreme divine item and contained immense spatial divine power. It could contact others at any time and use divine power to track locations. They were not acting together this time. If Dong Huang the Great attacked one party, the others could use this treasure to cross through the void and appear, preventing any accidents. "Let's set out," the human ancestor said in the mirror, giving the order. "After taking down the domain chief's manors of the 18 domains, leave people there to guard them. Then head to the Donghuang Imperial Palace to convene." The others all nodded. Yi Futian put the mirror away. Raising his head, he glanced at the space passageway and took a deep breath. How would this battle turn out? No one knew. Perhaps, this would completely change the world order. "Set out," Yi Futian said. After speaking, the group of figures advanced, passing directly through that space passageway, entering the divine prefecture. The great armies of the 5 large camps invaded with one command. Simultaneously, the mighty armies of the realms flooded into the divine prefecture. Black clouds covered the sky instantly in some places of the divine prefecture. It was like doomsday. Of course, the divine prefecture was too vast and had countless continents. Even though the armies of all the realms passed the borders, it was still insignificant to the divine prefecture overall. Thus, their first goal was to take down the domain chief's manors of the 18 domains. At this time within the divine prefecture's Donghuang Imperial Palace, powerful and mighty strong cultivators appeared in an extremely vast area. Donghuang the Great sat on the 9 heavens divine throne. Below the divine throne, the top figures of the divine prefecture stood in all directions with distinct levels. In the air before them, the sky screens were like various mirrors, showing the scenes of different places in the divine prefecture. The mirrors even seemed able to move. They saw the 5 armies scatter quickly after entering. The armies led by great emperors went clearly toward one direction, while the other armies had no goal. They dove straight into the divine prefecture. Many cultivators even scattered quickly, going in different directions. Right then, brilliant Buddhist light appeared. The 9 heavens seemed to be filled with Sanskrit chants. Extremely sacred Buddhist light enveloped the vast sky as if auspicious clouds had appeared. Donghuang the Great looked before him and then rose from the divine throne. "Donghuang greets the Buddhas," he said. After he spoke, a Buddhist door abruptly appeared amidst the Buddhist light. A mighty Buddhist army walked out of the Buddhist door. Thousands upon thousands of Buddhas gradually stepped out of it. It was incredibly stunning. After that, a sacred great Buddha's true form materialized. Buddhist light enveloped the boundless sky. The Buddha had come personally. "Greetings to the Buddha." Donghuang the Great personally bowed in greeting, showing utmost respect. He had once studied in the Buddhist sect, so the Buddha had the grace of teaching him. He was like a teacher to him, so Donghuang the Great had always been very polite to the Buddhist sect. The Buddha. Even the great emperors bowed, so strong cultivators in all directions of the Donghuang Imperial Palace all rose at once and bowed to show their respect. The Buddha nodded slightly. All the Buddhas chanted at the same time. After that, the Buddha looked toward the sky curtain and saw those scenes. Battles had erupted in many places already. Some cultivators of the divine prefecture had gotten into conflicts with the invaders spread through the divine prefecture. However, how could the scattered divine prefecture cultivators match the invaders? Those invading armies were all powerful. "Amitabha," the Buddha said, putting his hands together. "This war has still erupted in the end. Chaos has come. I hope it will not spread to the masses of the lower worlds." There was kindness in his voice. The battle of the top figures would not affect the cultivators of the lower worlds, but this kind of battle often affected the entire world. "I will try my best to minimize the effect of the war," Donghuang the Great said. "Virtuous." The Buddha nodded. "I did not think that 500 years would pass so quickly, with the snap of a finger. Donghuang, are you ready?" "Yes." Donghuang the Great nodded. "What shall come will come. 500 years is not short." The top figures of the divine prefecture's Donghuang Imperial Palace looked toward the two. Even they could not understand the conversation between the Buddha and Donghuang the Great. The relationship between the Buddha and Donghuang the Great seemed to be even better than they had imagined. After Yi Futian led the strong figures of the Yi Imperial Palace into the divine prefecture, they headed straight to the Nantian domain of the 18 domains. After Yi Futian led the strong figures of the Yi Imperial Palace into the divine prefecture, They headed straight to the Nantian domain of the 18 domains. Clearly, he had not forgotten Futian the Great and the others. Since they chose to attack the 18 domains, then his first choice would be the Nantian domain. Futian the Great and the others were in the Futian sect of the Nantian domain. If he attacked the domain chief's manor, would Futian the Great's group participate in the battle? The mighty group of strong figures started for the Nantian domain. There were great emperors, so they were extremely fast, passing through the space without stopping. Not too long after, they descended into the Nantian domain. But the moment they arrived in the Nantian domain, an intense beam of light suddenly lit up from the chief's manor of the Nantian domain. The pillar of light shot into the clouds, shocking all the cultivators in Nantian city. Futian saw the beam of light from afar that reached for the sky, and his brows furrowed slightly. After that, strange movements came from the mirror. Futian took it out and heard the Devil Emperor say, "The domain chief's manor used a spatial divine matrix to leave as soon as we descended. They must have gone to the Donghuang Imperial Palace. They probably destroyed the transmission formation directly and then fled to the Divine Prefecture's Imperial City." Yes. The others nodded. They all encountered the same situation. The domain chief's manors of the 18 domains chose to evacuate instead of fighting them in the chief's manors. At this time, inside the Divine Prefecture's Donghuang Imperial Palace, Donghuang the Great rose from his divine throne. He took a step forward and appeared outside the Donghuang Imperial Palace. He sat cross-legged above the Imperial City. The mighty group of strong figures behind Donghuang the Great trained their eyes on his figure. Then Donghuang the Great extended a hand and waved it. Instantly, countless beams of divine light converged in the heavens, transforming into instrument strings. They gathered before Donghuang the Great and materialized into a divine guqin. After that, everyone watched Donghuang the Great sit down, extend his 10 fingers, and strum the strings. "The great emperor has not played a musical piece in so many years," someone murmured behind him. They were extremely shocked inside. At this moment, Donghuang the Great's long black hair fluttered in the wind. He was ineffably elegant. The music rang out, instantly drawing people into a miraculous artistic conception. It was the divine piece, Ukiyo. Donghuang the Great personally performed Ukiyo. When Ukiyo rang out, the heavens moved. The countless cultivators in the entire imperial city heard the music. At that moment, they all raised their heads and looked in that direction. They seemed to see an elegant figure. It was Donghuang the Great. That day, all the realms united to attack the Divine Prefecture. Donghuang the Great played Ukiyo at the Imperial Palace. The clouds changed in the heavens, and infinite divine light fell. A magical force appeared in the world. When the divine light shone down, all the cultivators in the imperial city felt that the power of their great path was restricted. "With Ukiyo, laws no more," many cultivators murmured. What was Donghuang the Great doing? They looked up at the changes in the heavens, and their hearts trembled violently. Waves of shock went through their hearts. The sky above their heads had changed. It was enveloped in divine light, and endless streams of rune light actually flowed through. It transformed into a super-divine matrix that covered the sky. At present, all the beings were under this sky and this divine matrix. They bathed in the light of the divine matrix, and their great paths were sealed off. Many people reached out wanting to release the power of their great paths, but they found that they could not at all. It was completely sealed off. An invisible force appeared in the world, sealing everything. "Why is His Majesty sealing the imperial city?" someone asked quietly, looking up to the sky. They did not believe that Donghuang the Great would do anything to them, but they did not understand why he was doing this. His Majesty is not only sealing the imperial city, of course. An elder looked up to the sky with fierce shock in his eyes. He said, "His Majesty wants to seal the entire Divine Prefecture." How big was the Divine Prefecture? There were 18 domains in the Divine Prefecture. Each domain had countless cultivation continents. Most continents had billions of cultivators. The vastness of the Divine Prefecture was unimaginable. But at this moment, the skies above all the continents in the Divine Prefecture were changing. That horrifying divine light spread with frightening speed through the entire divine prefecture. The strong figures of the human realm were currently at the Taichu domain. The human ancestor furrowed his brows now. He heard the music. Then a beam of divine light flashed past the heavens. That instant, the heavens transformed into a divine matrix. Countless beams of divine light fell from the sky, suddenly sealing off the divine power of the cultivators behind him. "What's going on?" someone asked. Despite being a great emperor, even he felt that his divine power was sealed off and restricted. "What is this?" People gradually began to speak out. Their expressions were all extremely shocked. Raising their heads, the Guqin music streamed into their ears, causing them to enter Yukio's artistic conception too. That moment, they realized that it was Donghuang the Great playing the music. The human ancestor looked up at the sky. His eyes were extremely sharp. This divine matrix was going to envelop the entire divine prefecture. Or perhaps, the entire world. "Revelation divine matrix," the human ancestor whispered, looking up. As expected, Donghuang the Great had not wasted his 500 years of cultivation. At the same time, the same scene happened where the Devil Emperor, Evil Emperor, Dark Sovereign, and Yi Futian were. The Revelation divine matrix enveloped the sky, turning the entire sky into a divine matrix. The cultivators of the divine prefecture were all shocked. All of them seemed to have been handicapped. When the divine light of the Revelation divine matrix fell, no one could be spared. The human ancestor and others' eyes penetrated the vast space. They saw Donghuang the Great playing the piece in the Donghuang Imperial Palace. He sat cross-legged and moved his hands. Instantly, the instrument strings flew out from his fingers, abruptly transforming into terrifyingly sharp swords. The divine swords broke through the space, crossing the void directly. The human ancestors group was far away in the Taichu domain, but divine swords suddenly appeared above their heads. One became two, two became three. Infinite Tianxing divine swords were formed. They rained down from the sky, shooting toward the human ancestor and others. The cultivators below the human ancestor were all trembling. Under the Revelation divine matrix, they were all restricted, and now, the Tianxing divine swords were attacking. If no one could block the swords, they would die without a doubt. This was the power of a top great emperor. They could not counter it at all. Billions of cultivators could die in an instant. The human ancestor raised his palm. Instantly, a boundlessly massive silhouette of the human god appeared in the heavens. It covered the sky and wrapped around the strong cultivators. It raised its palm against the endless divine swords and destroyed them. Similar scenes were happening simultaneously in other places. Where Yi Futian was, divine swords also came murderously at them. The Revelation divine matrix had fallen on him, wanting to seal off his divine power. But when the divine swords came, he still took a step forward and pushed his hands out. Boundless divine power broke through the constraints, and countless fists blasted at the divine swords, pulverizing them. However, Yi Futian did not feel any pride. Donghuang the Great was far away in the Donghuang Imperial Palace, but he could remotely send down the divine matrix and make such powerful attacks. Exactly how strong was Donghuang the Great? "Donghuang, you know the rules of war," the human ancestor transmitted his voice across the distance. His voice filled the vast void, resounding through the divine prefecture's imperial city. "Donghuang, you know the rules of war," the human ancestor transmitted his voice across the distance. His voice filled the vast void, resounding through the divine prefecture's imperial city. "I know. Otherwise, all cultivators below the great emperor plane who entered the divine prefecture would already be dead," Donghuang the Great replied. His voice was extremely domineering. In the war 500 years ago, they had been the only great emperors in the world. The war had been started by cultivators of lower realms. Attacks by great emperors would be too destructive, and cultivators would go extinct. If the 6 emperors started killing freely, no one knew how many people would die. Thus, Donghuang the Great only used the Revelation divine matrix to restrain them instead of killing them. Otherwise, as he said, all invaders below the great emperor plane would already be dead. The vast divine prefecture of the entire world was all under the range of the revelation divine matrix. Good that you know, the human ancestor replied. Then his body expanded crazily, transforming directly into the divine human, the supreme figure of the human world. As this figure continuously expanded, the cultivators beside the human ancestor became incredibly insignificant, just like ants. They looked at that crazily expanding body, and their hearts pounded violently. The cultivators on the side already had their line of sight blocked. On the other hand, the hearts of the cultivators of the Taichu domain trembled horribly. They all saw that huge god grow until he was boundless. The cultivators of the Taichu domain had never seen such a terrifying giant before, and the human ancestor showed no signs of stopping yet. His head went towards the revelation divine matrix in the heavens. The cultivators beside the human ancestor had no space anymore. They stood on the human ancestor's body like ants. They were highly insignificant, like a drop of water in the sea or a speck of sand in the desert. Finally, the human ancestor's body stopped growing. The people of the Taichu domain gaped. Was he still a human? The human ancestor let out a breath, and it transformed into a cloud. The entire Taichu domain was under his feet. Countless cultivators from the Taichu domain were on his body. They were all trembling fearfully. Right then, the human ancestor lifted a finger. That finger was like a boundless and sharp sword, containing an extremely horrible and sharp aura. It was a humongous sword of the divine human, and he stabbed it toward the revelation divine matrix in the sky. A dull sound spread. The frightening crash shook the heavens violently. Then a hole was pierced through in the revelation divine matrix. The human ancestor's finger sliced past and ripped the revelation divine matrix. The hole kept enlarging. He stepped on the ground, and there was an earthquake in the Taichu domain. Cracks appeared in the entire continent and countless buildings collapsed. Many cultivators were thrown directly onto the ground. With that one step, the human ancestor's body shot into the sky and advanced with incredible speed. The revelation divine matrix in his path all crumbled and shattered. In a blink, the human ancestor's huge body disappeared from the Taichu domain. The cultivators of the entire continent looked at the huge figure going into the distance, and their hearts pounded. He had transformed into a giant, going shoulder to shoulder with the sky. It was like he could grab the sun and moon from the heavens if he reached out, and this did not affect his frightening speed at all. The figure going into the distance created a madness that shook the entire continent. If it hit another continent, then it would collapse directly. Even the revelation divine matrix could not withstand it, let alone the continents of the divine prefecture. The human ancestor raced forward, going upward. His body was like a city. Each time he moved was the length of a city. One could imagine how frightening his speed was. He could crumble a continent or a star with one slap of his hand. In the Donghuang Imperial Palace, Donghuang the Great continued to play the guqin more and more anxiously. He mended the revelation divine matrix whenever it broke. Countless beams of divine light enveloped the madly running human ancestor, causing his speed to be a bit disrupted. He slowed down a little. Soon, an extremely frightening revelation windstorm enveloped the human ancestor's huge body, but the human ancestor continued forward, forcibly withstanding the storm. His steps did not stop. Various divine swords suddenly appeared in different directions above the divine prefecture. Every divine sword was boundlessly large, like god-slaying swords. While Donghuang the Great played the music, those god-slaying swords pointed in one direction. As his fingers strummed the strings fiercely, the countless mighty divine swords abruptly attacked one area. As if the distance did not exist, they locked down on the human ancestor's huge frame. While racing madly, the human ancestor saw the boundless divine swords coming at him from the sky. They tore the space apart and transformed into an extremely frightening beam of sword light. Passing through the sky, they stabbed toward his huge body. His steps slowed down. He raised a hand and pushed forward, transforming into a huge divine seal that crashed against the incoming murderous divine sword light. Everything shattered instantly. What was frightening was that the divine swords seemed to come down endlessly. The human ancestors' divine seals were also inexhaustible. If there were a continent around the human ancestor's body, it would probably be destroyed directly. Dong Huang the Great seemed to have purposely chosen this time to attack. While Dong Huang the Great and the human ancestor were fighting, the Devil Emperor, Evil Emperor, and Dark Sovereign were not sitting still. They led their armies directly toward the Dong Huang Imperial Palace. They headed straight for the final destination in the Divine Prefecture, since the strong figures of the 18 domains had all evacuated to the Dong Huang Imperial Palace. They would resolve this huge battle together in the Dong Huang Imperial Palace. After hesitating for a moment, Yi Futian also led his strong cultivators forward. They were on the same side of the battle. Since they were already at this step, he could only keep going forward and take down the Divine Prefecture. He could not retreat anymore. All the strong figures were in the Dong Huang Imperial Palace. They looked at Dong Huang the Great, who was playing the guqin, and they knew that it was not very possible to stop the human ancestor and the others from arriving. After all, the other side had 4 of the pinnacle-level figures, 4 of the 6 emperors. And Yi Futian. Yi Imperial Palace, God's Ruins Continent, at the same time that the strong figures went to war in the Divine Prefecture. The most powerful fighters of the core of the Yi Imperial Palace had left with Yi Futian. 3 great emperors were left to guard it. The rest were people of the Yi Imperial Palace who did not have very high cultivation levels. Right then, a guard outside the Yi Imperial Palace raised his head. He suddenly perceived danger, as if an invisible force was coming down. The next moment, they learned the true feeling of this repressive weight. A suffocating might enveloped the Yi Imperial Palace. A space passageway opened up in the heavens, and a line of strong cultivators walked out from it. The group had frightening auras, and the leader was even more shocking. His body radiated with emperor's might. Great emperors were attacking. Strong figures from the Dong Huang Imperial Palace? The people in the Yi Imperial Palace felt their hearts pounding. If they were from the Dong Huang Imperial Palace, why did they choose the Yi Imperial Palace? They must be the weakest force of this alliance. Inside and outside the Yi Imperial Palace, countless cultivators looked up to the sky. They all felt the extremely strong pressure. Inside and outside the Yi Imperial Palace, countless cultivators looked up to the sky. They all felt the extremely strong pressure. Palace Lord Yi had left to fight in the war in the Divine Prefecture, but people had come to attack. Would they bring about a catastrophe? Just then 3 great emperor-level figures appeared. They were the 3 great emperors from the human realm and Devil Emperor who had stayed. They were guarding this place. Divine power surged on their bodies as they looked into the heavens. One great emperor from the human realm stated boldly, "People from the Dong Huang Imperial Palace? Why are you hiding?" The leader had a silver mask over his face. A subtle current flowed, hiding his face. His long hair was down and he dressed plainly. However, his body contained a repressive might. Merely standing there, he was like a god arrogantly overlooking the world. He was unparalleled. An extremely wild aura swept through. A horrible and destructive windstorm instantly swept the heavens, and a dark current appeared in the sky. It was like a destructive tribulation. The great emperor from the devil world narrowed his eyes. Staring at the figure in the sky, he asked, "Who are you?" Why did he feel like the great emperor who appeared was like someone from the devil world? The Comer did not respond. The horrible aura burst from his body and instantly sealed off the Yi Imperial Palace's territory. At that moment, countless beams of tribulation light appeared in the sky inside and outside the Yi Imperial Palace. Countless tribulation runes radiated from the Comer's body. Every rune was like a tribulation. Countless beams of tribulation light fell, shrouding over the 3 great emperors. At that moment, all the cultivators inside and outside the Yi Imperial Palace felt despair. The great emperor who had descended was powerful. It was possible he could wipe out the 3 great emperors guarding the Yi Imperial Palace. It would be a disaster for the Yi Imperial Palace if that happened. At the same time in the Divine Prefecture, Yi Futian suddenly stopped while hurrying toward the Dong Huang Imperial Palace. His expression instantly turned ugly and even a bit pale. He had already received news that strong figures had invaded the Yi imperial palace. But the 5 large forces were working together to attack the divine prefecture right now. How could the divine prefecture send someone to attack the Yi imperial palace? If it was not the divine prefecture, what other forces could it possibly be? These 4 forces were an alliance, attacking the divine prefecture with him. The human realm and devil world had even left great emperors to help guard the Yi imperial palace. It most likely was not them. Then there were only 2 possibilities, the divine prefecture and heaven realm. If it were the heaven realm, then with Ji Wudao's arrogant personality, he would probably go personally and attack directly. However, it was not Ji Wudao who had come. He took out the mirror and transmitted his voice. Seniors, the Yi imperial palace suffered an attack. I'm afraid I must head back. The human ancestor and devil emperor had also received the news and knew that Yi Futian was not lying, and the battle had already erupted there. Return with me, Yi Futian said to the strong cultivators of the Yi imperial palace. Then he led the cultivators of the Yi imperial palace away. As for the great emperors from the human realm and devil world, they split up and continued toward the divine prefecture Donghuang imperial palace. Divine power wrapped around everyone from the Yi imperial palace, and they hurried with frightening speed, stepping through the void. They were incredibly fast. They wanted to rush back to the Yi imperial palace as quickly as possible and hoped that they could make it in time. Everyone else was also very anxious, but they did not disturb Yi Futian at this time. They could only hope that the great emperors could last. Donghuang, is it your people who made a sneak attack on the lower world? The human ancestor said, his voice resounding in the Donghuang imperial palace. Sneak attack? Donghuang the Great replied. You all came to attack the divine prefecture, so why can the divine prefecture not attack your territory? Does the human divine palace have enough defenses? Donghuang the Great seemed to admit that the people at the Yi imperial palace had been sent over by the divine prefecture and the Yi imperial palace was only the beginning. They would attack the other forces later. This made the other great emperors furrow their brows. Did the divine prefecture have another strong great emperor other than Donghuang the Great? They had all left some strong figures for defenses, but it would be hard to say if it were some super strong great emperor. They would first see what would happen to the 3 great emperors at the Yi imperial palace. Not long later, the human ancestor's eyes narrowed, and his expression turned ugly. His great emperors had fallen. The 2 had been killed, one after another. Devil Emperor, what about your man? The human ancestor transmitted his voice to ask. Just got killed, the Devil Emperor replied. The 2 top figures picked up speed and finally arrived at the Donghuang imperial palace. There were frightening booms. The moment that the human ancestor's majestic body appeared, the cultivators in the imperial city all started fleeing madly. They were worried that they would be affected by the great battle. The human ancestor's frightening figure could slap them to death easily. Donghuang Buddha. The human ancestor looked toward the outside of the Donghuang imperial palace. The 2 top figures were there. Donghuang the Great played the guqin with both hands. The Buddha stood to the side. With the 4 emperors appearing, the top 6 emperors of the world would all be in this imperial city. The hearts of countless cultivators trembled. They looked up at the 6 emperors in the sky. The strongest 6 people in the world had all arrived. Human ancestor, you are a cultivator from the ancient times and had cultivated until now, the Buddha said. You are known as the ancestor of humans. In this case, why must you create conflict? The world is undergoing great changes, and everyone can cultivate better now. We are entering the age of gods, too. Wouldn't it be better for the 6 emperors to govern the world order and wait quietly for the coming of the age of gods? The Buddha cultivates Buddhism and is very benevolent, the human ancestor said. Can't you see Donghuang's ambitions? Plus, there is still Ji Wudao of the heaven realm. If they aren't rid of this, the 7 realms will face disaster. Since the Buddhists can predict the future, can you see the future world? The Buddha gazed at the other. His eyes seemed to contain light as he nodded. I saw it. How is the future? The human ancestor asked. Order is recovered in the world, and the age of gods arrives, the Buddha said. Who rules the world order? The human ancestor asked. I do not know, the Buddha replied with a smile. On the other side, Yi Futian finally hurried back to the Yi imperial palace, but it was all too late. By the time he returned to the Yi imperial palace, it had already been shattered. The 3 great emperors had been killed, and all the cultivators of the Yi imperial palace had disappeared. They did not die. They were taken away. Did Dong Huang the Great do this to threaten me? Yi Futian asked softly. He did not think it would be so fast. There had been 3 great emperors here, but they could not stop the other and had all gotten killed. The people who had returned all had pained expressions. They did not know what they should do now. Return, Yi Futian said, and continued to bring the people back to the divine prefecture. Since Dong Huang the Great had taken the people away, they could only head to the Dong Huang imperial palace to find Dong Huang the Great. But would there still be a chance to make Dong Huang the Great hand the people back? In the Dong Huang imperial city, pressure enveloped the entire city. Everyone held their breath, staring at those grand figures in the sky. In the Dong Huang imperial city, pressure enveloped the entire city. Everyone held their breath, staring at those grand figures in the sky. At this time, the repressive aura enveloped the imperial city. The ultimate battle of the emperors could start at any time. They saw Dong Huang the Great stop playing. He waved his hand, and the guqin disappeared. He stood up, looked at the 4 emperors, and then his body vanished directly from the spot. The human ancestor looked in a specific direction, and his huge body also vanished. After that, the Devil Emperor, Evil Emperor, and Dark Sovereign also pursued Dong Huang the Great. They all knew that in the ultimate battle of this war, it was about the life or death of Dong Huang the Great. If Dong Huang the Great was killed, then it meant that this battle would be over. If Dong Huang the Great could escape, then it was meaningless even if they destroyed the divine prefecture. Amitabha. The Buddha's figure also vanished. Dong Huang the Great's figure appeared in the empty void far away from the imperial city. He was even far from the mainland of human cultivation. How frightening would their battle be? If they started fighting in the imperial city, every burst of power could cause the city to be destroyed. The cultivators would not withstand the might of their battle at all. The 4 strong figures on the human ancestors' side locked onto Dong Huang the Great's location. They chased after him with incredibly frightening speed. Boom! With a loud boom, Dong Huang the Great penetrated the space and then vanished. The human ancestor huffed coldly, and then the figures of the 4 great emperors disappeared one by one. The Buddha who pursued them also vanished. It was like they had never appeared before. In the Dong Huang imperial city, the strong figures of the divine prefecture and world of Buddhism stood outside the imperial palace. Meanwhile, the imperial city also had the top figures of the 4 major realms. They looked up and saw that the 6 emperors had disappeared from this place. Instantly, the strong figures of the 4 emperor-level forces gazed at the Dong Huang imperial palace. This battlefield now belonged to them. A horrifying aura radiated out. Great emperors stepped forward, going toward the Dong Huang imperial palace. They crushed over, preparing to conquer the Dong Huang imperial palace. As for the 6 emperors who had left, it was 4 against 2. It must be a definite victory. Dong Huang the Great's figure appeared in the endless void of the original realm. The 4 emperors were still tight on his tail. This was far from the gods' ruins continent. It was a true void with very sparse populations. They could barely see any cultivators. Dong Huang the Great clearly was choosing his battlefield purposefully. He chose the void of the original realm. This way they could go full out in battle. However, there were still many stars and lands in the endless void. It was just that there were no traces of human cultivators. Dong Huang, when are you going to flee until? The human ancestor's voice rang out, echoing in the void. He raced madly forward, stepping through the void. With such a majestic and huge body, every step was like crossing an entire star. When he made a step, his body crashed against a planet. There was an explosive boom and that planet shattered directly. Stop! His voice rang out again. As soon as the human ancestor spoke, divine power burst out crazily. His huge body was still growing, becoming extremely frightening. The divine human's looming figure appeared in the boundless and vast void. The figure of the divine human transformed and seemed to become one with the universe. His hand grabbed toward the void, and the terrible booms shocked the worlds. The planet that blocked the hand was destroyed directly. Human cultivators were so minuscule under that palm, even Dong Huang the Great's figure was like an ant. That palm print was boundless and still growing. It was like Dong Huang the Great would not be able to escape from the hand, no matter how he escaped. He would definitely get snatched up. Many of the stars left behind in the void collapsed and were shattered. At this time, Dong Huang the Great turned around. The instant that he turned around, his entire body dazzled. The light shone in the sky, illuminating the boundless void, and fell upon the human ancestor's huge body. The strong light was revelation divine power. Even though the human ancestor's majestic body was boundless, he was still covered by the divine light when the revelation divine power illuminated the vast world. The speed of his extended arms seemed to slow down. It was getting slower and slower. Before, Dong Huang the Great had used the revelation divine matrix to release divine power and had covered the entire divine prefecture. But at this moment he was only targeting the human ancestor. Amidst the revelation divine light, billions of divine swords appeared and fell down in the vast void. Every divine sword was impossibly huge. They attacked the human ancestor at the same time that the revelation divine light shone down, flooding this part of the sky. Every divine sword had extremely frightening golden runes on the surface that tore apart the space, penetrating it as they went down. The human ancestor took a powerful step and instantly crushed the space. Countless beams of divine power penetrated the void, hitting the infinite divine swords. In an instant, the extremely sharp divine swords suffered the attack by the powerful divine power. There was a muffled sound, and then many divine swords exploded and shattered. At the same time, a figure rushed over from another direction. He was impossibly fast as he raced straight towards Dong Huang the Great. This figure was entirely pitch black and had frightening demonic might wrapped around him. Everything in his path was destroyed. The divine swords raining down murderously at him also shattered. They could not stop him at all. Dong Huang the Great glanced at the Devil Emperor. He saw endless destructive intent around the Devil Emperor. However, Dong Huang the Great surprisingly did not hide. He urged the revelation divine power to the max. At the same time, seeing the Devil Emperor come at him, he raised a palm and attacked the Devil Emperor directly from across the space. The Devil Emperor's palm was also expanding. The two great emperors started close combat, and their palms slammed directly together. In that instant, the surrounding worlds collapsed and shattered crazily, and wild currents flowed through the space. Even more frightening was that a terrible beam of destructive light flowed through the wild currents. The void was exploding. Dong Huang the Great's physical body was also attacked by the extremely destructive divine power, and it seemed that his body was about to explode and disintegrate. But at the same time, the Devil Emperor's inextinguishable super-demonic form also suffered from an extremely horrible attack. Dong Huang the Great's palm made the Devil Emperor feel that his spiritual soul was warping. He saw an awful vortex that wanted to rip his spiritual soul into countless pieces. Bang! With a huge sound, the surrounding space shattered and collapsed madly. The two both retreated. Destructive divine light shot out of the Devil Emperor's pitch-black eyes as he stared at Dong Huang the Great in the distance. He had been the junior before, but after 500 years, Dong Huang the Great was unexpectedly just as strong as him. The Devil Emperor stared at Dong Huang the Great. His expression became even more serious. His figure grew larger until he became a peerless demon god. The Devil Emperor stared at Dong Huang the Great. His expression became even more serious. His figure grew larger until he became a peerless demon god. An extremely destructive storm enveloped the vast space. A demonic sound reverberated in the air. In the sky above, billions of demons appeared. There were tens of thousands of demon gods who stood tall in the sky. They had rallied to the summons of the Devil Emperor and resonated with his figure. For a moment, the space was filled with a terrifying demonic sound. It could cause people to have mental breakdowns. Amitba, a voice called out. Then, the light of Buddha enveloped the vast space. Opposite the Devil Emperor, within the divine domain of billions of demons, the silhouette of the Buddha appeared. His body became a golden body that was 10,000 zhang tall. The light of Buddha on his figure shone across the land and enveloped the vast space. The demonic might and the light of Buddha clashed against each other. The scene was astonishing to behold. This was a battle between two of the strongest figures. It was a battle between Buddha and demon. With a loud sound, the Buddha put his palms together. Immediately, various Buddhas appeared in the sky. These Buddhas glowed with the blinding light of Buddha as they recited the sound of Buddha. Buddhist voice circled the space. Countless Buddhist runes radiated from their figures and kept expanding until they covered this part of the sky. They headed straight towards the divine domain of billions of demons and enveloped them. The Devil Emperor stepped up into the air. His glabella instantly lit up with frightening demonic light. A demonic rune appeared in the sky. At the same time, demonic runes appeared on the billions of demons. The runes rained down. Each and every demonic rune contained extremely destructive power. They clashed with the Buddhist runes that were charging towards them. The heavens and earth shook. The space seemed to collapse frenziedly as terrifying cracks appeared. The Devil Emperor and the Buddha were battling amongst the cracks. They were standing a distance across from one another. They seemed very calm. The Devil Emperor was domineering while the Buddha stood erect like a mountain. Both sides were unyielding. Buddhist power and demonic power were initially diametrically opposed forces. Both were forces that were powerful and domineering. Now, they were clashing head-on with each other. One could imagine how terrifying that was. At the same time, elsewhere on another battlefield, the evil emperor appeared high in the sky. Unparalleled spatial divine light enveloped the vast, desolate domain. Instantly, spatial divine power descended and sealed the space off. He wanted to prevent Donghuang the Great from continuing to flee. Evil Emperor, you handle sealing him off. Sovereign, you and I will work together to kill him off. The human ancestor instructed the evil emperor and dark sovereign as his voice filled the space. The Devil Emperor was occupied with the Buddha. As such, the three of them would be in charge of hunting down Donghuang the Great. This time, they had the absolute advantage in terms of numbers. It was 4 against 2. This was not the time for etiquette. They naturally would not hesitate to all attack at the same time. The evil emperor controlled the divine domain of space and could seal Donghuang the Great here, preventing him from escaping. The Devil Emperor and the Buddha were battling elsewhere. The human ancestor and dark sovereign would join forces to kill Donghuang the Great. Such an arrangement should suffice. The evil emperor and dark sovereign accepted the command of the human ancestor without any objection. Their main goal today was killing Donghuang the Great. This was something that could not be postponed anymore. Before this, Yi Imperial Palace was attacked. This might be a sign that Donghuang the Great still had hidden troops working in the background for him. This was also a threat to them. As long as they killed Donghuang the Great, everything would end. Rumble. A dull sound reverberated in the sky. The humongous body of the human ancestor stood high above as he looked down on Donghuang the Great. A thunder domain appeared above the latter. Donghuang the Great raised his head to glance at the sky. His expression turned serious when he sensed the terrifying might flowing within the thunder domain. The divine power within it was not an ordinary great path of thunder. Instead, the divine thunder of the heavenly path was created by the human ancestor. It was akin to the thunder that split the space apart while the world was still a void. It was charged with an overwhelming destructive might. Rumble. Frightening lightning flashed in the chaos thunder domain. Each streak of lightning was as sharp as a sword and contained unparalleled power. The human ancestor had been cultivating for eons. His ability was unfathomable. He could crush a star with a single palm strike. While he dashed across the endless space, stars crumbled right away under the shock waves of his motion. If he attacked, he could destroy many continents with a punch. He could even annihilate a small world. No one had truly experienced the human ancestor's ability before. Dong Huang the Great might have the chance to do so today. Human ancestor's gaze was piercing as he looked down on the space below. He shifted his will, and immediately countless beams of light plummeted down from the Chaos Thunder domain. These light beams were the Chaos True Thunder swords that he created. One sword was sufficient to penetrate through a continent and destroy it easily. Now, 9999 Chaos True Thunder swords descended in tandem. 9999 was the number of perfection, foreshadowing the destructive might the swords contained. To the side, Dark Sovereign had yet to attack. When he saw this attack unleashed by the human ancestor, he felt his heart tremble violently as well. He became more cautious. He was uncertain of how powerful the human ancestor was. However, a single attack from the latter was enough to instill fear in the crowd. When 9999 Chaos True Thunder swords plummeted simultaneously, they could annihilate an entire segmentum. Yet all these swords were used to target Dong Huang the Great alone. One could imagine how shocking the destructive power was. The Chaos True Thunder swords overcame the vast distance and reached Dong Huang the Great in a split second. However, they slowed down when they came close to him. A menacing storm of revelation divine power could be seen stirring up around the body of Dong Huang the Great. The revelation divine domain expanded outwards with him as its center. Laws and paths did not exist within this domain as it forbade all divine powers. Therefore, the Chaos True Thunder swords were on the brink of being destroyed upon entering the domain. Their advancement had been slowed down. Human ancestors swept a glance across the battlefield. The Chaos True Thunder swords, which were emitting destructive divine power, penetrated the storm of revelation and continued charging towards Dong Huang the Great. Their raging powers exploded inside the revelation divine domain. Countless divine swords materialized around the body of Dong Huang the Great. They fused with the revelation divine power and transformed into the divine swords of revelation. "Go!" commanded Dong Huang the Great as he looked at the sky. The divine swords of revelation pierced through space and collided with the Chaos True Thunder swords head-on. The divine swords of revelation were specialized in annihilating all paths. Moreover, their might was maximized while they were in the revelation divine domain. Therefore, they sliced through the Chaos True Thunder swords and reduced them to dust. 9999 Chaos True Thunder swords were obliterated in an instant. This caused the human ancestor and Dark Sovereign to give Dong Huang the Great surprised looks. The revelation divine power was an extremely domineering divine power, which had never been comprehended by others before. Dong Huang the Great mastered and optimized it, unleashing its power to its full potential. Over the years, his revelation divine power grew stronger and stronger. Cultivating a divine power required a lot of time. The human ancestor had been cultivating for many ages. His divine power was profound and had been perfected. In terms of the depth of their divine powers, Dong Huang the Great had gotten the short end of the stick. Dark Sovereign looked at Dong Huang the Great. Then he attacked as well. Dark Sovereign looked at Dong Huang the Great. Then he attacked as well. Majestic revelation divine power enveloped Dong Huang the Great. Suddenly, underneath his divine domain, a dark lotus materialized. This dark lotus was similar to the one that appeared in the 99 heavens of the heaven realm. It looked like something that could only be found in the abyss of death. It was the embodiment of darkness. The dark lotus grew larger and began to blossom. Streaks of dark currents flowed out from its petals. Soon, the dark lotus grew into a gigantic organism. It wrapped the entire revelation divine domain within it as its petals extended upwards. The dark lotus intended to engulf the divine domain as the dark currents seeped into the latter. The revelation divine domain was infiltrated by the dark currents. Soon, many dark currents circulated inside the divine domain, and they slowly corroded the revelation divine power. The vast region enveloped within the dark lotus turned into hell. The surrounding space was corrupted. The aura in space ceased to exist. Everything was tainted. Only death and destruction remained. What was even more frightening was that the Dark Lotus was continuing to grow. It was as though hell had opened its bloody, gaping mouth and was about to consume Donghuang the Great and his divine domain. Rumble. A terrifying storm was whipped up in the Revelation divine domain. Divine power roared frenziedly as it continued to spread outwards. It broke through the restraints of the Dark Lotus and even suppressed the divine power contained within the latter. The two divine powers affected and suppressed each other. They were both extremely powerful. Back in the day, the 6 great emperors were existences who stood at the pinnacle of the world. Just then, the body of Dark Sovereigns similarly grew larger continuously. He became a gigantic war god of Azura. He and the human ancestor stood in different locations. Donghuang the Great was flanked by them. Up above, the evil emperor was also holding the fort. It seemed that it would be difficult for Donghuang the Great to escape this besiegement. One person was in charge of sealing while the other 2 would be going all out. Even the one who was sealing might join in the fight. 3 great emperors versus 1 great emperor. One could imagine what sort of predicament this was. The human ancestor raised his hand, and immediately, even more frightening power coalesced in the Chaos Thunder domain. Countless bolts of lightning rained down and struck within the Revelation divine domain. At the same time, an astonishing power was gathering in the center of the Chaos Thunder domain. The surrounding space collapsed and shattered frenziedly. The powerful destructive force was like the law of destruction controlled by the heavenly path. Divine light radiated and shot down. The cylindrical beam of intense light immediately penetrated the space. Everywhere it passed, the space collapsed and shattered. It was like a heavenly strike that could eliminate all of existence. It directly charged towards where Donghuang the Great stood. Donghuang the Great lifted a finger, and a gigantic divine sword pointed up at the heavens. It clashed with the beam of divine light. Even more dazzling intense light burst forth. It was blinding. However, that was not the actual attack from the human ancestor. Up above where the intense light was radiating from, a divine sword gradually appeared within the Chaos Thunder domain. The beam of destructive light that shot down came from within this divine sword. The light contained within the divine sword was already powerful to such an extent. How terrifying would the divine sword itself be? The human ancestor had cultivated for countless eons and was the oldest among the 6 great emperors in the current world. In his battle with Donghuang the Great today, he unleashed his true divine power as he attempted to kill the latter. Down below, Donghuang the Great naturally sensed how terrifying the chaos true thunder sword that was forming was. The beam of intense light alone was already putting him under tremendous pressure. Rumble. The storm formed from revelation divine power circled Donghuang the Great's figure. Around him, a menacing vortex appeared. At that moment, Donghuang the Great's eyes changed. They contained unparalleled divine power. Up above him, the Chaos True Thunder Sword slowly slid out. When it fully emerged from the Chaos Thunder domain, it finally came crashing down, penetrating the outer shell of the Revelation divine domain and charging towards Donghuang the Great. Everything around the sword was turned to ashes. All powers ceased to exist, even divine power. Just as the Chaos True Thunder Sword was about to slit the throat of Donghuang the Great and end everything, the world suddenly fell silent. When the Chaos True Thunder Sword was right in front of Donghuang the Great, it seemed to enter another dimension. Donghuang the Great's figure was shining brightly. His body had become Wei. Just as the divine sword was about to end him, it suddenly stopped. It was not just the divine sword, everything around him had stopped. It was as though a vacuum had appeared around him. The Chaos True Thunder Sword lost its power at that moment. In this vacuum, there was no way. Or rather, all laws of the outside world lost their power in this domain. Even the powerful Chaos True Thunder Sword could only inch forward. Time seemed to have slowed down. Donghuang the Great extended a finger and touched the Chaos True Thunder Sword. In an instant, the sword, which contained unparalleled destructive power, was immediately shattered and destroyed. It turned to dust which was scattered to the winds. When the human ancestor and dark sovereign saw this scene, their eyes narrowed. They were both staring at Donghuang the Great. He seemed to have mastered the esotericism of revelation divine power. In that instant, he had unleashed its ultimate form. Revelation divine power could imprison all laws in this world. It could suppress other divine powers, causing them to cease to exist. This would happen when such a divine power was cultivated to its extreme limit. Other techniques and the laws of the world could not exist under revelation divine power. There was only nothingness. What did the ultimate form of revelation divine power look like? It might be that its ultimate form was like the heavenly path. If Donghuang the Great had become the heavenly path and he had attained perfection in his cultivation, then, with a mere thought, no other laws would exist in the world. Rumble. Just then, a dull thud could be heard coming from around Donghuang the Great's figure. The miraculous sensation just now disappeared. It seemed that even a person as powerful as Donghuang the Great could only maintain the form for an instant. It could not be sustained for long periods. Had Donghuang the Great truly cultivated the ultimate form of revelation divine power? Even if 4 great emperors were to join forces against him, they would most likely not be a match for him. When revelation divine power entered its ultimate form, the other cultivators would not use their divine powers. How could they still fight then? I never imagined that you would actually reach this stage with just 5 centuries of cultivation, said the human ancestor as his towering figure gazed down below. This domineering proud son of heaven was even more powerful than he had imagined. From the looks of it, the human ancestor had still underestimated Donghuang the Great. Donghuang the Great looked up at the human ancestor. The former had a cold and indifferent look in his eyes. If the human ancestor had not instigated this war, Donghuang the Great would have continued to secretly make preparations. The ultimate form of revelation divine power was the void. If he had cultivated such a plane, he would be more confident to use it against the other great emperors. However, he was already out of options. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.